So I would love for you to like kind of just describe what the NVC process is, the observe, the feeling, identifying needs. Can you kind of walk us through that?
Do you want me to take that, Matt?
Absolutely.
Okay. We actually kind of caution ourselves in explaining this process because there's so much to the practice of it. Like it has to be practiced. That OFNR process, observations, feeling, needs, request, it's like when you're learning a new language, you kind of learn textbook sayings, right? And you don't necessarily use those phrases in real life. You're learning them to practice so that you can understand the process, and then you can kind of translate that into normal, natural speak. But if we are going to that kind of nuts and bolts of NVC, it is a 4-stage process: observations, feeling, needs, and request. The first one is observation. So if there's something that is troubling you about what somebody is doing, you can observe it without judgment. So if I come home and Matt's clothes are all over the floor or something, instead of saying, Matt, when you're being such a slob, right? There's a judgment there.
It's so hard for you to say that. I can tell.
Yeah. Well, yeah, so that's like a harsh judgment. And instead of saying that, it's like, Matt, when I came home and I saw your clothes on the floor, so whatever can be videotaped. You can see in a video camera, for instance. It's a judgment-free, and that takes practice, by the way, because a lot of the times the things we say, we think they're judgment-free and they're not. So that takes practice. And then so when I saw your clothes on the floor, I felt, and then you use a feeling word. And back to what you were saying earlier, Hunter, we often confuse emotions with things that come after the words I feel. So sometimes we say, I feel disrespected, or I feel taken advantage of, or I feel abandoned. There are all of these words that imply judgment, that you've abandoned me, you're taking advantage of me, you're not respecting me. A feeling is an emotion that arises. And we actually have a list of these feelings on our website if you want to check it out, thehappywanderersclub.com. And it's emotions. So for instance, when I came home and I saw your clothes on the floor, I felt really tired and frustrated. And then the next step is need. What need of yours wasn't met? So we also have a list of needs on our website, which really helps get down to these universal needs that every human being has. So you won't see things like money or fame or things like that on the needs list, because those are not universal needs. Those are money is a strategy to get our needs met for maybe comfort or safety or whatever. So that list has the list of the universal human needs. So I may say, when I come home and I saw your clothes on the floor and I felt really tired and sad and frustrated, because I really need order and ease when I come home from a long day at work. So order and ease are needs on that list. So that's observation, feeling, needs. And then you can hear, what comes up for you, Matt, when you hear that. And then he can use NVC language to share with me what he's feeling. And then at the end is the request. And the request is, would you be willing, when you know that I'm coming home, would you be willing to just take a quick look around the house and see if you can pick up anything before I come home? Because that really would help me feel that ease and order when I come home from work. And then the characteristic of a request is it's not a demand. You're not saying do it or else. You're saying, how does that sound to you? And so Matt can respond and say, that's really hard for me because when you come home from work, I'm really busy. And then you can have a dialogue of strategies that you can both agree on, so that my need for order and ease are met and his need for order and ease are met, or whatever other needs he has. So those are the 4 steps: observation, feeling, needs, request. And they take a lot of practice, but when you're able to do it, Hunter, I really think NVC is like a superpower, because you can speak and communicate in a way that is so much easier for the other person to hear and want to cooperate with you.
Catch new episodes of the Mindful Mama podcast and other free resources, including the Mindful Mom Guide at mindfulmamamentor.com. You can listen to every back catalog episode, including interviews with Dr. Dan Siegel, Janla Van Zant, Sharon Salzberg, and get meditations, join our private Facebook group, and more. Go to mindfulmamamentor.com now. I'll see you there.